Let's go back over to the insert menu and take a look at some of what we can do with that. So if we want to create a section where there's additional text, but where it can collapse visually, you would use the collapse text tool. So here I'm going to copy and paste in some Greeked out copy. I speak Greek really well and write it even better. So I had some handy. So I put it in there. And now if I go over to the test view, again, you're using your little computer icon, I can see there's an arrow appearing and the text is collapsed in this mobile view, and then the user can expand it to read further details, but is able to see all your top level links and content on the site. Let's build a table of contents, clicking on the table of contents tool. So I'm going to bring up the ring tool and I'm going to start typing. The important thing to remember here when you're creating a table of contents is that you do need to use these features of the heading, because the heading will create the table of contents code that's embedded in there. So I'm going to continue using my text tool on the dial to create different text sections, one per heading, title text I'm putting in there. So I'll just add this in so you can see the effect. So title 1, 2, 3 as a header. Now when we test this out, and I click on this, it's toggling through. I click on each title, and what's going to happen is that the mobile site is actually going to expand those sections. Now those sections have been created. If we look at the web view, you can see it in even greater detail, that each section is created that corresponds with the table of contents up at the top. And the user is now able to jump to each of those sections. Let's check out how images can be inserted. So by pressing Image Carousel, I don't have an image in here yet, so I'm going to select one and then show what's possible. So selecting an image. Pulling that in, I actually need more than one image to show the effect. So we'll drop a second image in there. And a third. Okay, now we press Insert. And now because it is a carousel, let's make it smaller, just dragging it. You can start to see how these gray guidelines are appearing. When you're dragging and dropping your components, you can line up with those. Let's test it in the preview view. Now you can see arrows on either side. We are going through a gallery of images, which are grouped together. And if we go back into edit mode, I do just want to bring your attention to these different layouts that include images. There's the image button that you can use to insert there, but then all of these components have images in them where I can insert an individual image and control the text that's being grouped with it and add in things from the ring. So here I'll add some text in using the ring. And let's change the theme color behind our image. So all of these different layouts there, you could have 3 images with text in a row. You could have one large hero image and 2 smaller ones and sort of play. So let's insert another component from the side here. Let's try building a button because people really love to press my buttons. Type in some text. So this one's going to correspond with the About page. When we click on Link, this takes us automatically to the other pages we've already created. So it's a good idea to create your structure and your pages first before you create your buttons. There are some formatting options that pop up on the toolbar. I can control if there's an outline or basic color. If I want kind of like a nice dividing line that shows up, just to kind of visually make a difference between sections, I can add in a dividing line. Now, so here we can see this dividing line better now that I changed the theme related color to this particular component section. And now that you have a better idea about how these components can organize your look and feel, let's try out the placeholder component. Using a placeholder, I can start to make some decisions about how I'd like to bring the different elements I've created inside of Google Drive together. So I think I'd like to place maybe my waffle presentation. Let's go into preview mode. And if I scroll down, there's the table of contents. And then there is our hyperlink section. Let's test out our new button. The About button takes us to the About page. Clicking on Home returns us to Home. Back here in edit mode, I can see there's an icon appearing that this is going to be for slides. If I click on that icon, now all of my slides are being pulled in from Google Drive. I click on the one I'd like, which is the certificate for Karen, and I press Insert. I can control how this Google Slides is going to appear. If I want it to auto start or have a slight delay on when it starts, and you'll see some of the presentation controls are visible even in this smaller collapsed view. Let's try the YouTube component tool. So I click on that and this takes me right into a previously used YouTube link. This adorable video of me with a whistle. And when I drop it in, you can see the aspect ratio doesn't match to my previously existing component. It's in the size of the YouTube size. So let's see what kind of a difference a placeholder makes. So I've put the placeholder, which also gives me the option for YouTube, put in the exact same YouTube video, and now the aspect ratio is matching to my other element. So if you're laying out a page and it's important to you that the elements on the page look similar in size, you want to use a placeholder. If you're wanting to customize the section and drag and drop, you can see those guides appearing. I just drag and drop across the guides. I can even take the placeholder and then change the sizing on that as well. But if I place that now up next to the other placeholder that I used to create that, there's some really expedient formatting that's taking place so that things match up just a little bit better. And you can see how I can drag and drop all the elements, putting them in between each other, moving them around. These blue measuring sticks start to appear that helps you visually gauge the size of the section. Let's take another placeholder and let's take a look at how Sheets behaves inside of Google Sites in case we wanted to display some data from our earlier project. So we're going to press the plus sign. We can go to Sheets here. There we go. We have some charts, some data. That would look great on the website. So that users can see. So now I've dropped in Sheets right here, giving it a full view. But let's drag and drop it and sort of confine it. You can even see at the bottom of the Sheets the tabs appear so that users can toggle through that. But if I would like to designate a sheet for it to load to by clicking the settings icon, I can select the particular sheet that I want to load. Now the third sheet is our main screen. Let's load a calendar view in. So once I select calendar, then go over to the side, I can pick the particular calendar I'd like to have displayed. And I can configure the calendar settings by clicking the settings icon. on that particular placeholder component. And this new view of important dates is being displayed. If I want to drop a form in, I can click on the form component. That's going to open, give me these options. Now I've pressed insert. It's not inside of a placeholder, so it's taking up the entire space that the form would require. So users can even be looking over the entire form right here on the site, or they can click on the square icon and that will take them out to a new window to answer your form survey. Let's take a look in preview. We can see all of our elements on the web view here. All of our components we quickly dropped in and see how that would look on a particular browser or on a mobile device. So if we don't like the way it's looking on a particular mobile device, we can go back over and update and move our components around really efficiently. I can even view it on the tablet screen size there, of course. I think now would be an excellent time to share our website with Karen. This time, share settings are controlled by the little people icon, so I've clicked on that. I've got her name in here, and I can control if she can edit or if she can just see the published view. So we're going to let her edit this one in case she wants to make some changes on her side before we publish it live to the web. Let's go back into the settings icon and revisit some of the things we wanted to make changes to. So that's our navigation, our logo, and let's add a bit of alt text. So alt text is text that is displayed if the image is somehow not visible for whatever reason, perhaps a slow connection or a problem. So for our favicon, that's a little image that goes up into our tab. Viewer tools, these are little snippets of copy that users can see on your published live site with information, and so they can see drop-down menus. Custom URL, if you'd like your URL to say www.victoria.com, we'll come back to it, it goes there. Analytics, if you're monitoring your site traffic using a Google Pixel, you use that. And we've covered the announcement banner back at the beginning. We can see it here up at the front. Pressing on the settings icon, we can duplicate our site. So if I want to make a copy and make a second version, and publishing live to the web, once everything is ready to go, all you do is press publish, and we can see the name that we gave it. That's not the exact URL yet because we haven't set up a custom URL. But we've got a basic one and some information that we've written here about our site and who can view your site. You can manage if that's private inside of a network, perhaps it's for a school or business. Pressing manage brings us back to this share screen, which is the exact same share screen we were looking at just a moment ago. So we've already designated that. And we can control if our site can be searched or not searched. So Google will crawl websites and enter them into Google. So when people search, you come up. If you don't want someone to be able to search for your website for whatever reason, perhaps again, it's just internal or for your family, you can designate that there. Under the Publish drop-down, you will see the options for publishing the first time, viewing your published site, and also reviewing changes and publishing them as you go along and make updates to your site. So once you hit review, you're able to put the existing version and the new version with changes side by side and compare, making sure that your changes are all in the right place. And once you've published them, you can press View Published Site. So we are not in preview anymore. This is live online. All of my great content. I'm keeping it private and I'm not allowing the search engines to crawl it. So I can just send it to Karen and she can review her changes.